So Rachel Reeves announced her spring statement last week, and really it was an attempt to miraculously bring back her financial plans to the £9.9 billion of headroom that she announced in the October budget in 2024. But a lot has changed, since that first Labour budget, not least Donald Trump coming into power and creating a lot of volatility with his unpredictable nature and introducing tariffs around the world, cutting global economic growth. And it's meant that Rachel Reeves' announced fiscal plans have come under a lot of stress since that original announcement in October 2024. Her main fiscal rule surrounded her stability rule, which said that by 2030, not unreasonably, that we wouldn't be spending as much as we get in every year. So basically, we just don't spend, we spend what we get in, allowing us potentially to borrow money to put into capital expenditure to grow the economy for the UK. But as I said, since that original announcement in October, there's been a lot of changes around the world, and it's meant that pretty much every financial metric has gone in the wrong way over the last couple of months. So, for instance, UK growth projection for 2025 has been cut in half from 2% down to 1%. The CPI inflation rate has gone up from 2.6% to 3.2%. So it's been pretty much a steady flow of bad news since that original budget in October 2024. The result of all that bad news is that original £9.9 billion of headroom that Rachel Reeves announced in October has been completely reversed. So by the time she made the statement last week, it meant that we had a £4.1 billion deficit in our financial plans. So really the spring statement was an attempt to bring those finances back to order and bring the financial plans back to that £9.9 billion of headroom. So how was that achieved last week? So cuts to government spending. So all government departments were told that they had to cut their administrative costs by 15% per year by 2030. There's a reduction in the amount of spending that the government are going to make over the next few years, government spending in different departments. Welfare benefits were cut, which obviously made all the headlines on the news. You probably saw that. Big clampdowns on tax avoidance and tax non-payment. But that's just a few examples. There was a whole load of other measures and cuts which have brought the financial plans back to that £9 billion of headroom that she announced before. There was a small paragraph on ISAs, which kind of continued the narrative that we're going to be moving to more incentives to invest in stocks and shares ISAs going forward, as opposed to cash ISAs, and that's probably that kind of narrative that we're looking to invest in companies and investments to grow the economy rather than having money kind of sitting on the sidelines in bank accounts. But kind of attention now probably will turn to the October budget in 2025. The cynic in me says that, Rachel Reeves' fiscal plan pretty much only lasted 6 months before having to be adjusted and moves made to bring it back in line. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 6 months? Donald Trump is continuing to announce fresh tariffs even this week, and there's a lot of uncertainty around the world that creates extra risk around the world. Global economy still potentially going through some volatility. So really, there's going to be a lot of mounting speculation potentially that there's going to be more tax rises in October to kind of cater for some of this extra volatility. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. In terms of people that have investments, if what it means for your investment portfolios, definitely there's been increased risks over the last few months in terms of Trump's tariff policies, and we've definitely seen some more volatility in the stock markets. We're really happy with how our recommended portfolios have been positioned. They're really well diversified across asset classes. They're actively managed, so they can move money into different asset classes. They're actually making money in times like this. So really happy with how things are going, really, considering. But if you do have concerns about your own investments, just definitely get in touch, and we can kind of have a look at them for you. We've got lots of different events coming up, educational events around financial planning. So definitely get onto the Harold Stevens website to look into what's available. But for today, that's be for today. But thanks for joining. Thank you. Bye.